This is Eric Muathe with Muathe.com. All is well. Let's take a look at a stock here that is up today. Today being a Monday, it is up almost 100%, which is a one-day gain. Of course, the stock gapped up this Monday morning for a sudden quick double with a massive gap up. This is the weekly view. Take a look at the daily view and we can see the huge gap. Now, of course, I don't believe anybody other than those who are on the inside could see this coming, this massive one-day move. But even though this one-day move is not necessarily predictable, but the chart itself was already showing potential before today's move. Let me explain this in a quick overview. So we can see here that even as far back as May of this year, the RSI had already moved above 69.1, which is one of our requirements. We can see that the MACDs have been trading at 3-year highs since, let's call it June, even earlier, as far back as April of this. So there's, of course, the stock had already met the minimum requirements for the ultimate Muathe breakout even before today's massive gap up and a quick double in what we can say is a surprise quick double. Now this is the monthly view, and we can see that we haven't had any monthly rest period as the stock has been positive pretty much since this move here in April. So the weekly chart is where we found our entry. Now I have to say the stock was mentioned for paid subscribers on August 31st, and you can see the breakout alert here as it moved above 42.95. Now, even though that breakout alert at the time was a breakout from a fresh weekly rest period, so we're talking about this sideways action right there, and our breakout came on this week right here at the end of August. Now we can see that that breakout technically failed. And what I can do, let's zoom into this time period. Currently we have a 2-year weekly. I'm going to zoom in. And now we have a 1-year weekly. The breakout alert was based on this weekly closing high right here. And you can see that it was breaking out as of late August. Now, technically, as I was saying, this breakout failed because it did not hold above that. So one would have been stopped out. And as you can see, the next breakout happens to be today's gap up right here. So did not give you another chance based on the previous breakout, or if you had updated your breakout to reflect the current highest weekly closing high, which was the end of August. So let me explain this in another way so we can see it clearly. There's a weekly closing high. In fact, let's start afresh. And what we're going to do here, so there's a weekly closing high, which is this weekly closing high. We waited for at least 2 weeks of rest, and our breakout alert comes in when prices after 2 weeks of rest break out. Now, this breakout would go on to fail technically because it drops back below our buy point, which meant a fresh higher weekly closing high. This fresh higher weekly closing high is right here. This becomes logically the next breakout level. So you get stopped out, but you don't have to give up on the stock. You can set the next breakout alert for the new higher weekly closing high. So if I could draw the lines here, so to be consistent, so we can understand what's going on. Something like that. Based on weekly closing highs, the stock stays sideways until it gaps up this morning somewhere here, up 100+%, giving us no other opportunity during this fresh breakout. Now, of course, we are using the weekly chart because, as we mentioned, the monthly chart does not give us any rest period. So there's also another way of looking at this, that even though the weekly price breakout failed, there was no technical reason to get out of the stock because the RSI was still holding above 69.1. So yes, all of these are valid because the RSI was still remaining strong. There was no really big picture reason to get out of the stock when it broke out in late August, even though it is also true that one would have been stopped out based on the weekly failed breakout, which is this weekly breakout when we sent that alert at the end of August. So we came close with that breakout in August, which failed. Didn't give us technically another fresh opportunity for a decent entry, but at any rate, a couple of things do scream out to us. Number one, we are swimming in the correct waters. In other words, we are fishing where there's plenty of great opportunity. It also means that our minimum requirement is bringing us closer and closer to these types of moves, which is frankly what anybody can ask for in terms of opportunity. Now, it's the same minimum requirements that was able to help us narrow down this breakout right here. As this stock, this is a different stock now, as it moved from about 27.5 to the recent highs of about 28 or 58, sorry, 58. So the same minimum requirements. So that premium alert came on August 14th, and we can see stock is mentioned right here. The same minimum requirements will deliver. And yes, from time to time, based on volatility, based on reset, sometimes you can miss a future breakout, as we missed for IMMU. But we're not losing faith because we know those minimum requirements always tend to show up for the biggest moving stocks in any market. And one thing we can say that as long as the market is stable to bullish, we will continue expecting these types of moves for some well-rested, super performing leadership stocks if we know what to look for, as we do know what to look for based on a long history of searching for premium breakout alerts. Eric Muathe with Muathe.com. Love and light, light and love. Namaste.